Hey everybody, welcome back to Jennifer's Garden. Guess what today is? It's pickle day. We're making pickles here today. So, I've got my water bath canner going. I'm gonna bring you around here. Trying to get everything all set up and going. My water bath canner is started. I've got my oven set at 270 degrees with my jars in it. Heating up my jars, sterilizing them. Got all my stuff set up. There's my dill and my garlic. And this is how I do fancy bookkeeping here. I keep all my stuff in a notebook. See if I can make that a little better here. There is my recipe for my dill pickles. And I will talk through everything as I go along. So, I gotta cut up all the cucumbers. So we'll do that real quick. So I cut all the cucumbers into spears. I leave one that is measured so I know what length to cut them all. So I cut the ends off and I measure and I cut them in half and I cut them in spears. We'll see if that'll do. So we have all of our cucumbers. Then I'm going to come over here so that way you can see everything else here. I have to start my vinegar and water. So for each quart jar, I put 1 cup of white vinegar and 1 cup of water in each one. So I'll bring that to a boil. So this is 4. So I have 7 jars. It's going to fit in my water bath canner. So I'll do 7 cups of vinegar and 7 cups of water. And while this is going, I will have my lids in some water. I'll get those going. And that way they can get softened up. And I will start boiling this vinegar and water. And the jars just need to be heated, so they've been plenty heated. So I will take them out of the oven, and they're going to be hot. I put them here on the towel. So my water bath canner will hold 7 quart jars. There's my 7. So I can turn the oven off because I don't need that anymore. Well, that's almost ready. I'll start pretty much stuffing these jars. I do have a candy thermometer in here, thanks to my husband. And about 180 degrees. So I want to keep it above 180, but below 200. That's the ideal temperature to keep everything going. Doesn't need to be a complete boil. All right, here's where the magic begins. So I do have my handy dandy recipe. So pickling salt. It has nothing to do really with pickles. It is just salt. It's salt for preserving. So I have 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon per jar. So I'll go through each one just to make it easier to remember. And I put all the ingredients in the bottom first and then stuff them with the cucumbers. It's just easier because it's really hard to get everything in after the fact. And 1 teaspoon. The salt is done. Put 1 clove of garlic in each one. You can put as many cloves in it as you want. However garlicky you want. I like garlic, but not too much garlic. So I like to put an actual dill head in each jar. I use less of the dill seed. I like the way the dill seed makes it very, very dilly. But I do, since I grow it, like to put 1 giant dill head in here. So I'm going to stuff 1 in each jar. Ooh, that is hot. They're quite big this year. They turned out real nice. So I can substitute 1 head for 1 teaspoon of dill seed. So I should be putting in 1 tablespoon of dill seed. So I'll just put 1 of these and then 2 teaspoons. Teaspoons. I like it very dilly, so I go a little overboard. 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. 2. I'll just spread the whelk. Like I said, you could put as much or as little dill in it as you want. And I gotta keep an eye on this. Yes, we're just about at 180 degrees. Whole peppercorns. I put 6 whole peppercorns in each one. And this too can be to your taste. You can put more in, you can put less in. It's really about how much you want. That's all of them. So everything's packed. Now I'm going to put the cucumbers in. And I try to put them in different directions too, just to kind of be able to get as many in as I can. If some of them are too tall, you can just clip them off. Okay, they're all packed. Of course, the fan on my microwave turned on because we got some heat pumping out here. So I'm going to fill them with the brine. It's called a brine. So 1 cup of... Let me try to move this. 1 cup of vinegar per... 1 cup of vinegar and 1 cup of water. They're kind of not quite as hot as they were. Not only does it help sterilize the jars, it also helps prevents the jars from cracking. You don't want to put them in the water bath canner and have them crack. So that would be no good. You just worked really hard. Just fill them up to about a 1/2 inch of headspace. So usually about where the band goes on. It's about a 1/2 inch from the top. Just bring the brine to a boil. It doesn't really, you don't have to cook it of any sort, but again, it just helps keep the jars hot. You're going to put the jars in the hot water in the water bath canner. You want to keep the glass at a somewhat high temperature so the glass doesn't break. You don't want to do all this work and have broken jars. Enough room to let the air escape. Okay, again, you always want to wipe off the tops of the jars before you put the lids on, because you don't want anything on the top. Like you can see the little piece of cucumber there. That would prevent the top from sticking to the jar. You don't want that because then your food will go bad. So just a quick wipe just to get everything off. And this is like your last chance to, like one time I forgot the garlic and one time I forgot the pepper. So this is your last chance to throw something in before you put all your tops on. So I have everything. So I did my pickling salt in the bottom. 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon in the bottom per quart jar. Use less if you use smaller jars. I did 2 teaspoons of dill seed with 1 fresh head of dill that I picked from my garden. Then I put 6 peppercorns in there with 1 clove of garlic. And even the recipe that I had, it said like 3 or 4 cloves, and I just can't do that much garlic. So, and cut all your cucumbers to your liking. You can really do it whatever way you want to. I'm going to put the tops on. I like wide mouth jars because who likes to try to get a pickle out of a regular mouth jar? It's really hard. And then I found I really like the wide mouth for pretty much everything. It's just easier. It's easier to clean. It's easier to put things in. Uh-oh. This guy doesn't want to come out. There. Now I can put all my bands on. Again, this was the same process that I did with my butter. If anybody watched my butter video, just hand tight. Just hand tight. You don't want to put them too tight. You want to be able to let the air expel out of the jar. That's the canning process, is getting the air out. It's just like a food saver, sucking all the air out, but we're doing it underwater. My water bath canner is ready to go. And you can always reuse the bands, the outside part. You can reuse them until they're all rusted apart and no good. But the lids, you can't. Once you process them and use them in a water bath canner or pressure canner, you can't reuse that lid again because that around the lid is a rubber seal, and once it's adhered to the glass jar, you can't use it again. Okay. So we are way up at 200, so I'll keep it on low. So this is a water bath canner. It just has water in it and it has a little grate inside. The thermometer didn't come with it. I had one. So we just stick them in. I put them in so they're close but not touching. I'm short, so I have to stand on my tippy toes every time I do something. Make sure everybody's good in here. And then one in the center. Ooh, this is the hard part, because you can never tell how much water you need. Because these babies are heavy. So gently let it go into the under the water. Make sure that's down all the way. So I'm not putting my fingers in the hot water. Perfect. And I'll show you what that looks like. So right there. So I'll put the top on and then I'll wait 25 minutes. 25 minutes for the pickles. and we wait. Okay, timer is up, so I can turn this off. And I'm going to try to do this without burning yourself. That's what this guy is for. Take the jars out. And once you take them out of the water and let them sit, the outsides of the jars start to cool down. So at that point, you'll start to hear them pop. And once they're all popped, then they're all canned. I do try to let them sit for like 2 or 3 weeks before I would open a jar, but I have some left over from last year and actually a few from the year before that are still fine that I'm starting to eat from that before I would eat these. So I would let them cool down overnight and then I can take the bands off. It's better to store them without the bands because they do tend to rust, but and that's it. I leave my water bath canner for my husband to dump because it's a little heavy. Or just let it sit overnight so that it's not hot because you don't want to burn yourself because that is boiling water at this point. So I'll show you again my recipe for my dill pickles. And they are so delicious. So once again, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you for growing with me so I can grow with you.